So we've just pulled up in a location called Enfield in North London, and we're here to see this detached property behind me, which has been converted into a HMO, a 7-bedroom sui generis HMO. So it's quite a large HMO project. We're here to meet a chap called Ryan, who I've been following on Instagram for a while. Put a link to his Instagram page here, and he's going to give us a site tour, and we'll get to ask him lots of questions all around HMO conversions. So stay tuned and hope you enjoy. Yeah,
so
cheers.
This is the first bedroom.
Okay, we're going here?
Yeah, originally this was the garage of the house.
Okay.
So yeah,
I did notice because the brickwork under
it's
here is different,
yeah,
and so that was a garage door and you've blocked
exactly
it up,
that,
yeah?
Yeah.
So you've got a tea station
Yep.
and an ensuite.
And an ensuite, so all of them, yeah, I've got the ensuite.
What's the size of this room? Do you know the square meterage?
I think this is about 10 square metres. So they're
Plus
all between...
plus the ensuite, yeah?
Yeah,
And the ensuite's 2.5, 3 square metres basically, yeah?
Yeah.
It's nice.
So they're all between 10 square metres and 14.
And then you've got radiators.
Yep.
No underfloor heating,
No.
just normal rads, yeah?
No. Yeah, but what we've done is...
You can control
Yeah,
them.
each room's got its own thermostat, so we can control it. What the plumbers also done was they plumbed it in separate zones.
Oh, cool, yeah.
Again, so if there's any problems, issues,
Yeah.
you can turn off the water in this room.
Really
Same
good.
with the electrics.
Yeah,
If there's any issues, it don't trip the whole house.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Cool, yeah, really good. What do you think this room would let for then? I mean, because we're not familiar with this area too much, so.
So we've rented it, well, we've just posted the ad, and
Yeah.
it's up between 1100 to 1250.
Okay, are you classing these rooms as micro studios, or are you classing them as just rooms?
Standard
HMO room,
Yeah, HMO rooms.
but no
with
cooking
ensuite.
facility in the
No
bedroom.
cooking facility, no.
But they've got food storage
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? So do you think you'll get that sort of money, 1100
Yeah,
quid?
we've got a few inquiries
Really?
already, so yeah,
Wow.
it
And
seems quite positive.
are they all about the same size, the rooms?
There's one room that's slightly smaller.
Okay.
That's the one that we've listed for 1100.
Oh, right, I see.
And that's got a single bed in it.
Yeah.
But the rest of them have all got double beds.
So you're using that as the anchor hook to get some people in.
Yeah.
I'll just have a quick look in this ensuite then. Tiles are nice, aren't they? Really good.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of my projects I've gone for that sort of white Carrera look tile.
Yeah.
But then I didn't want all of my all of my portfolio sort of looking the same.
Yeah.
You know.
It does look good, really
A
nice.
little bit different.
And all the furnishings, you used a particular company to get all the beds,
You know
or you
what,
bought it all yourself?
I got it all from the range.
The range, oh cool, yeah. They do some
And
good
it was
stuff,
pretty
don't
good,
they?
Yeah, like the prices were quite competitive. All the beds are ottomans, so they all lift up, so extra storage as well.
Underneath,
Because
yeah.
you know, it's like with a HMO, obviously storage is key.
I've got a load of questions for you that I've written down on my
course.
phone, but
Yeah.
if I ask as we go through,
Yeah.
the only thing I've noticed about the rooms, what is that your only wardrobe space there?
To be honest, this is the only one with this small wardrobe.
Yeah.
Most, like all the rest have got like a double wardrobe. Yeah.
Cool, yeah.
I know that might be a bit of an issue.
No, to be honest with you, I think there's compromises in every rooms, and you can only play with the layout that you've got, I suppose.
Yeah,
but from obviously renting rooms to HMO tenants, a lot of people, the average tenant now stays for 2 to 4 years. People think HMOs are these transitioning places of 6 months, but they're not. People make these places their homes a lot of the time, especially if they're at this high standard where they can see themselves.
And they're comfortable, then they'll stay longer.
So I was just thinking about storage, because if I had that as my hanging space, I think it would be not enough.
quite limited,
but then I suppose if someone folds stuff and maybe they use under the bed.
Yeah.
Or maybe the desk could go if they didn't want the desk in. They could
exactly.
But you can only make do with what you've got, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah.
But really good.
Yeah, I mean, we're flexible like that. If they wanted to sort of get rid of the desk and put another chest of drawers there, of course, we're happy to do that.
Where are your kitchen units from?
We get our kitchens from Benchmarks.
Benchmarks, part of Travis Perkins, yeah? Yeah, cool.
I mean, we've always used them. They're really efficient. They come out once it's all sort of plasterboarded, do their survey.
Measure for you and everything.
And the good thing is they can deliver usually within a week.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, nice stuff.
Yeah.
Wicked. Should we have a look around?
Yeah,
Yeah, amazing. Cheers. I like the flooring. The dark flooring and the dark walls are really nice colours. Yeah.
I mean, Instagram's a big help for things like that, inspiration and that. So obviously this is our first HMO, so you know, like I said, go on Instagram, go on Pinterest, get some ideas.
You'll see other people. At the moment, the HMO market seems to be, because when people first started doing HMOs, it was just like, get a room, maybe you might put an ensuite in it. Stations didn't really exist.
Exactly, yeah.
Now it's sort of like, to get top rent and to stand out from the crowd, you kind of have to go above and beyond, don't you? So people are everyone's doing T stations, bigger ensuites, larger rooms, finishing it with wood panelling, dressing the beds, and it really does help you to get...
Things like the panelling and that is really easy, really straightforward, but it makes such a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Just breaks up the white walls.
Yeah, for sure. This room's really nice.
Yeah.
What's the size of this? It's
this sizes-wise, I don't know
14, 15 square metres.
Yeah, probably about 14.
Yeah, it's really nice. Good size.
And this is the old living room of the house. It used to sort of go down the whole width, like the whole length of the house, but obviously, as you'll see, the other bedrooms in the back.
So is this a small double?
Yeah.
4-foot bed?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got timers on the lights as well, which is good. Lot of thought to plan out a room like this, actually. Yeah. Where are you with like HMO licensing? Have you managed to...
So we've put the application in.
Yeah.
But we've actually spoke to the licensing officer and they said, it can take months.
Yeah.
6 months.
But no one's come out for a visit yet?
Not yet, no.
I'm sure that they'll be very impressed because they see so many different HMOs of different standards, and this would be a class above, but they do sometimes give you some small adjustments that they want you to make. So. And
then hopefully if we do it again, it will just sort of make the planning process a bit efficient. Because the planning process for this...
That's one of my questions I was going to ask you about, actually.
I mean, the planning process on this took 14 months, which is an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of put me off doing it again in this borough.
Can I? So while we're here, then, can I ask you about that? Because that was literally one of the questions. So, I visited many HMOs, and I do them myself, as you know.
Yeah.
Some I do under C3 to C4 permitted development, 6-bedroom maximum in a non-Article 4 area.
Sure.
Enfield, as far as I know, is an Article 4 area, so you can't convert a house into a HMO without planning permission.
Yep.
But you've gone one step ahead of that, and you've actually created what's called a sui generis 7-bedroom HMO.
Right,
so you've gone to it's a commercial building, which requires a whole load of building regs, which you're probably familiar with.
We're dealing with that at the moment. So
In fact, the building regs on a sui generis HMO are even slightly more complicated than a new build site because there's so much impact, airborne, sound testing, water efficiency, lots of things you have to do. So what made you, in your first HMO project for yourselves, I think you've done property development before, right?
Yeah.
But this is your first HMO.
This is our first HMO. So we've got a few buy-to-lets. We've done like BRRs and not conversions, refurbs.
Yeah.
But this was our first HMO.
So what was the reason to go straight into that?
I think it was the advice from the architect. They were like, look, you've got the space there. We recommend going for the 7-bed HMO, the sui generis. They said, again, because of the commercial aspect of it. So we thought we might as well sort of go the full hog.
For the valuation, to get the valuation to where you want it to be. And then how did you find... Because obviously when they design, from an architect's perspective, they design a HMO and it looks great on paper, but then someone's actually got to implement that. And, you know, from... The differences between a C4 6-bed HMO to a sui generis, there are massive differences in building.
I mean, just to give you an example, even the sort of the soundproofing in between the rooms, they want, because literally what we've done is we've made it a shell, so we've had to knock down all the previous existing walls and created the new walls for the new layout. So even the build up of the walls is so much more complex than a standard build.
So how did you construct these walls?
So typically it's stud walls, insulated in between, and then it's got anti-vibration brackets and resilient bars, and then 2 layers of soundboard, which is a lot more complex than a standard stud wall, as you know.
Absolutely. Yeah, it takes a lot of time, doesn't it? So you had an impact and an airborne sound test from the rooms, and
we've booked in a sound test, so
it hasn't passed yet.
No, it hasn't.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So fingers crossed it will, but we've built it to the specification that the acoustic company have suggested. So
there's one tip on that I might give you if it helps if you haven't had your sound test done already.
Any tips,
So you've got all your fire doors on already. But typically, and I'm not a sound engineer, so if anyone who's a sound engineer watching this video might think maybe I'm wrong. But when you have a sound test done in a HMO, they're essentially going to put a machine in one room, and they're going to listen in other rooms to see whether they can hear that noise and the frequency of it. And there is a difference between impact and airborne, how the sound travels. But a lot of things, one thing that a lot of people don't realise is that because you have a gap underneath all of your doors, sound does travel under the door and go. And you are actually allowed to hold a sheet of blue plasterboard, soundboard. So you can close this door and on the outside you can put a sheet of blue plasterboard on the outside and hold it to the floor so that you're blocking that gap at the bottom when they do the sound test. So when your sound engineer comes, just say, because I've got a small gap underneath all of my doors, are you okay if I hold a sheet of plasterboard when you do your test? And I have some people fail or pass, depending on whether they do that or not.
Sure. So, I mean, we have got the drop-down seals. So when it closes, it
goes down.
Seal,
but does that let noise through or not? I don't know. Just ask. It's worth asking because it might be the difference of passing or not. I've done quite a few of these tests and they're a bit hit and miss. But even if you do resilient bars, sometimes people do acoustic matting. Some people have staggered
even
walls.
between the floors, again, it's double acoustic board, resilient bars, stuffed with insulation, and then on top of that, you've got the standard chipboard flooring, and then we've had to install acoustic flooring on top of that.
It sounds like you've gone the full hog. Very expensive to do it.
Yeah,
as well.
definitely.
Amazing. So should we carry on through and then I'll ask you some other questions?
Of course. Let me just get a drink because my mouth.
Oh yeah, no worries.
Do you guys want anything?
I think I'm all right at the minute.
You're
actually,
right.
you've got a downstairs toilet there.
Basically, the communal living area.
Yeah.
Kitchen, diner, sort of sitting room and that.
Yeah, really nice space for people to. So you've got good table for tenants to come and have breakfast and dinner and all that sort of stuff. You've also got a bit of a breakfast bar there, which is great. 2 of everything. Where are the fridges?
In the rooms.
In the rooms? So no external fridges out here?
No,
is that okay for HMO licensing?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
I don't know yet.
It should be okay.
But we've got space if
needed.
they require. I mean, we just thought, let's put the fridges in the room.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a bit more convenient because when you have shared fridges, there's a lot of mess, milk goes missing and all of that stuff. So we wanted to try avoid that headache. We have got space if needed. The licensing want us to put.
I mean, if they really moan about it, I mean, it's not ideal, but that television could go and you could have a double fridge there, couldn't you? But this is actually a really nice space for them to. So just in terms of tenant type, so obviously because people do different things with HMOs. This appears to be a luxury, high-end finished HMO. I would imagine you're going for working professionals.
Ideally,
And have you thought about tenant mix, ages, what type of people? Are you going to introduce them to each other? Or is it going to be...
I definitely want to create like a harmonious home for people. So if we can get sort of people that maybe work in the same industry or, whether it's creatives or finance or whatever, I think that would create a better home for people. Obviously that's an ideal perfect scenario. But if not, then for sure, definitely introduce everyone to each other. Maybe do like a welcoming thing to welcome the new tenant in. I don't know.
Yeah, totally.
I'm open to ideas. So if anyone has suggestions, anyone with experience in HMOs, by all means,
well, I mean, if you're into HMOs, how do you vet tenants, and what do you do in a HMO of this finish? How do you select tenants? I've seen quite a few different things been done over the years by different people, and some people there are some kind of big HMO landlords that they will find some tenants and then they actually let those tenants choose the new ones that are coming in, but by bringing people in for viewing, and they let them meet each other and then say which one would you prefer to be.
That's a great idea.
And for me, that's a bit too much. I like to
they might just sort of say no to everyone that comes through the
correct
door, sort of thing.
And also really it's your prerogative to pick the person who you think is best suited, that will perhaps stay long term, cause you the least amount of hassle, look after the room, pay their rent on time, be a good tenant, all the things that you want. One bad tenant can kind of ruin the whole vibe of the house. So that's important. I've seen other people do like, they'll move. I do this actually, so I'll try and move all the if I've done a new HMO, I'll try and move all the tenants in together at a close. So it's kind of like not one.
Everyone's new.
Yeah. And then I'll create a WhatsApp group. I'll put them all in the WhatsApp group. Okay. Buy a couple of Domino's pizzas and some beers, get it delivered to the house, and then say, oh guys, just so you know, on Friday night there's a load of pizzas coming for you, and just to get them to kind of get to know each other. And that can be quite good. Yeah. But like, I do think that a bit of thought around age, tenant type. Yeah. Perhaps people's industries, because not necessarily that you would say no to someone, but if you've got I don't know, a 60-year-old bus driver living opposite a 22-year-old lady who works in central London, they may not get on that much. So the kind of vibe in the house might be quite disjointed, if you like. And so sometimes the age. So my tenants all typically are between the ages of 25 and 40. Sure. And I've not actually done that on purpose. They seem to be that market in that area that wants to rent. So it's just kind of happened naturally. I've not specifically said you have to be between these ages. But now that you've had it all cleaned, when you get your first tenants coming in, you'll get a feel for what type of people you want to have living here, really, and who's going to look after the place. Because when you've done such a lovely job, you do want people to look after it. Yeah, so we have it cleaned. We have a regular clean?
Yeah. So that same cleaning company that we've used to do the after build clean, they'll come in and do the weekly maintenance clean.
Every week, yeah? Yeah. And will that be communal or rooms as well? Or?
I think we'll probably leave it down to the tenants, but they're happy to do the cleans in the rooms as well. So
if they want it to be done, yeah. Okay, excellent. That's always a bit of an issue, because sometimes you have people that say, I do want my room cleaned, and sometimes I don't want my room cleaned. Yeah. And speaking from experience, some people they clean their rooms every week without fail, and then others don't, and then you come back and you start to have problems with the en-suites because they've got lime scale and they've not been cleaning their rooms. So you kind of need to, if you're not going to have their rooms cleaned, with rooms that are this high standard, you should probably at least do an inspection regularly yourself. Okay. Because if someone...
What do you do with your HMOs? Do you schedule a cleaning?
So I have different spec HMOs. Okay. The last one that we did is a very high-end HMO, really luxurious, all en-suites, all tea stations, slatted walls. It's really done high-end. And the kitchen's quite large as well. It's a detached building in a place called Dartford, which is in Kent. I don't know if you know it. And in that property, we have the rooms cleaned and the communal areas. Right. And when we move a tenant in, we just say, look, as part of your rent, we are going to clean the room on this day every 2 weeks. And they can object to it, but everyone in that property particularly likes to have their room cleaned.
Yeah, so I imagine they would. So
So and then
that's a great idea.
Another one I've got, which they don't want the rooms cleaned, so I clean the communals, but I do regularly inspect that people are cleaning their rooms properly, because you don't want to come back after 2 years and have to change a whole ensuite because people haven't cleaned it properly.
Exactly,
So you've got it. I know I'm
so
going a bit off.
It's got its benefits, of course.
It's a bit off topic, but sort of you've created this luxury product. The shower traps, they get full of hair. They need the waste under the sink that gets clogged. You have to do these things regularly, don't you? And kind of your responsibility really to either get a cleaner to do that, and you've got a grade A fire alarm system.
Yes. So each room's got its own fire alarm.
But the fire alarm will need setting off every 2 weeks, sounding. So maybe you can get the cleaners to do that
as well,
if you can show them how to do it if they're competent.
And okay. Yeah, that's great.
A few little tips there for you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cool. So should we have a look around some of the other rooms?
Yeah, of course.
And I'll try and ask you a few of the questions that I've had written down as we go through.
Cool.
So downstairs toilet. Is that another bedroom here? Bedroom 3. Should we go in here?
Yeah, so this is part of the extension.
Yes, single-story extension to the rear.
Single-story rear extension, yeah. So the original house sort of ended here. This was part of the old living room. Yeah. But as we've extended it, obviously it's part of the bedroom now. Yeah.
Looks really nice, really good space. This is quite a big room again. Yeah. So is that an ensuite in there?
Yes.
Oh, it seems quite large. Oh, you've nicked a section at the back for the toilet.
Yeah, for the other ensuite.
Yeah. So your ensuite is all back to back for plumbing.
Yeah. And again, we sort of strategically planned the en-suites to be back to back and above each other.
Oh, I see.
So we've got one stack that services all the en-suites on this side, another stack on that side that services all the en-suites on that side.
It's really interesting how when someone does a HMO, like before they've done one, they might have done some basic property renovation or changed a bathroom or something, and they kind of know what a soil stack is.
Yeah.
But until you do a HMO, and then someone says, how are you going to get the waste from 7 bathrooms out? And then you become an expert in how to get a soil stack out of a building. It's quite an interesting thing, isn't it, that happens. But, right, cool. Are you all right if I just ask you a few questions?
Yeah, of course.
So, first question I've got is, what have been the biggest hurdles on this particular project for you? And I know you said planning 14 months.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, planning. So tell us about that then. Why did it take so long? Did you have refused planning?
No, we didn't have any sort of issues like that. But whenever we chased it up, I think a couple of times the planning officer that was dealing with this particular project, they'd left the council and then someone else had to take it over. And I think that happened twice.
Yeah, wow.
And it was just a really long process. To be honest, in hindsight, I think I would have personally chased it up a lot more myself rather than sort of just relying on the architects to do it. Going forward, it's definitely something that I think I would sort of have to sort of take control of and just sort of follow it up.
And then, so when you did the planning application, did you get planning for the single-storey rear extension as a family dwelling first, or did you just go all in?
Yeah, we actually did. Yeah.
So did you start the extension?
I think it was like a year beforehand. We'd actually got planning permission for the extension. That got approved.
Did you start that then?
We didn't start it, no.
Cool,
so as part of the second application, you know, that was already incorporated into it.
So it's a 2-stage planning, so it took a bit of time. I think this is one of the problems with a lot of councils is that there's no, unless it's a PD application or prior notification where you've got this 56-day deadline, if they have to give you a decision by this time frame, full planning can just take as long as it takes. And it can be really difficult for people. So did you own this property?
Yes.
And then you went for planning?
Yes.
So was it empty that whole time you were waiting?
Well, no, because it was empty for a little while, and then luckily we took on another project.
Okay.
So because we knew that was going to be a certain amount of time, we actually rented the house out.
Oh, cool.
As a house, as it was.
Oh, that's good.
So at least we were sort of generating income that way, and it wasn't sitting empty.
Yeah. So planning's definitely been a hurdle. What else would you say was the biggest hurdle
I think
here?
some of the things that were new to us that we hadn't done in our previous refurb projects, like for example, the sound stuff.
Definitely.
You know, fire doors we've done before, but building like you know soundproof walls and ceilings and stuff like that. That was definitely a bit of a hurdle. In terms of the construction, what I wanted to do was order pre-hung doors. Never done that before, but I thought there's 16 doors in this property. 8 of them were fire doors, 8 of them non-fire doors. So I thought if I just sort of outsource that to a company, that'd be great. Efficient, factory finish. You know, don't have to spend the cost on a carpenter coming in to fit it. So we gave them. It was an 8-week lead time. They promised it on the 17th of December. So I was kind of hoping that the project will be done before Christmas, like every other developer. They kind of wrap it up before Christmas. On the 17th of December, 6 doors had turned up, and I was like, "Where's the other 10?" And they were like, "I'm really sorry, supplier issues, this, that, and the other." I was like, "Oh man, you've really put me in it now." So like last minute, we've had to sort of send those back, get a refund on that,
and change them, do them all yourself.
Basically, order all the doors ourselves and all the carpentry, like all the the fixings and all of that. So. Yeah, that was a massive sort of setback.
Oh yeah, I bet.
But apart from that, to be honest, it's gone pretty smoothly. You know, a couple of other learning curves, like for example, like with our architects, we had to wait for them to sort of even like the SAP calculations. We'd started the build without them even sort of getting that to us, even though we've been working with them for more than 14 months. But there was still a delay with that. So again, another learning curve. Just make sure all of those things are in place before you sort of even start.
It's a lot of chasing, isn't it? It's just constantly putting people to each other and holding them accountable for stuff. So on the fire doors, I like the pre-hung doors route, and we're doing a new build site at the moment, which has got 12 doors in each project times 4, so it's nearly 50 odd doors, and we've gone for a pre-hung, because on new build you have to give a certification for the door that it's been made in a factory and it's got a minimal tolerance around it and this sort of stuff. So if you need a contact on where to get doors, I don't mind helping you with that. If your one's let you down for the future, you might want to use them. They did have a big lead time, but they did turn up. Okay, so I think maybe to summarise, and I felt this way actually as well. The first time you do something that you don't really know, it's always more stressful. Because it's like, well, I don't know what I'm doing, and you're sort of relying on other people, and that just makes the process. But so my next follow-on question from that is, now that you've done a 7-bedroom sui generis HMO, what do you think about doing that again? Could you?
I definitely would love to.
Yeah.
I would love to do it. The only hurdle again is the whole planning process. You know, like that with that uncertainty of, you know, could it take 14 months? It's really hard to sort of purchase a property, wait that long, and then do it. But for sure, if that planning process was quick and efficient, I'd definitely do it again.
Okay. So this video is not intended to be like teaching you what to do. It's really just to have a look at your site and give the viewers kind of an insight into how to do this type of stuff.
Teach me as much as you can, mate. I'll take it on.
While we're here, because this is something that is really valuable to know, I guess. This property you're operating at the moment in an Article 4 area. And Article 4 makes it difficult to transact. You've got that. Anything with planning is a bit unknown. And unless you're securing properties on option agreements or conditional exchange subject to planning, when you take ownership of a property and you have to take it through planning, there is a cost involved. If you can find an area around here, which is a non-Article 4 area, that you can still operate in and buy properties where you know you can change the use class from C3 residential to C4 HMO and obtain a 6-bedroom HMO. That may not be your intended goal, but once you obtain C3 to C4 PD and you've converted it into a 6-bed, what a lot of HMO developers do is they then go for another planning application from C4 to sui generis, and they add the additional 1 or 2 bedrooms.
Right. Okay.
So you've got a fallback position, which is 6-bed HMO. Yes, it's C4, it's PD, and you don't know whether you're definitely going to get the other 2 rooms. But there is a kind of not a consensus, but I would say there's an opinion that getting planning from 6-bed to a 7 or 8-bed, the material change of just adding a couple of bedrooms is less of a consideration at planning, as opposed to going to your local authority and saying, I want to put an 8-bed HMO here, which goes through a full planning process, may go to committee, may have all the NIMBYs come out that put 100 objections on your planning application because they don't really understand what you're actually creating. We've obviously got this massive housing supply, and then you've created this luxury product which serves a huge need. You'll find the people that live here will all have a desire to live in this property. There's a massive need for it. So you've kind of eradicated that problem at planning if you go in stages. But Enfield, it can't be done here. So for a lot of developers,
just find an area that's non-Article 4.
If you can find non-Article 4, go C3 to C4. Find a big enough floor plate that you can maybe go to 7, 8 bedrooms. Because the benefits of getting sui generis planning and the use class change is that your valuations on these buildings are higher. Which leads me on to a question about the valuation here, if you don't mind me saying. So the way we actually met each other was, I think, through Instagram originally.
Yeah, I actually went along to one of your, I don't think, it might have been a HMO seminar
or
just a seminar.
Last year.
Seminar. Which was really good, by the way.
Okay,
so,
cheers. Thank you.
Thanks for holding a good event.
No, that's really okay. But it was my colleague, Louis, at Trinity Finance. Obviously, I run a mortgage brokerage alongside doing property development. But it was Louis that had done the finance on this for you, I believe. And do you mind sharing details of how much the building's been valued for?
Sure.
Is that all right?
Sure. I mean, so initially and throughout the whole project, we were kind of hoping to achieve a valuation of between 850 to 900. When the valuer came in, he was really impressed with the site. He sort of loved how we've laid it out. He loved the sizes of the rooms. And believe it or not, we got a valuation at 950, which is way over what we expected.
That's incredible.
So thank you.
Well done, mate. That's fantastic.
Thank you to yourself and Louis for helping us out. You know, even the advice sort of in the lead up to the valuation was valuable. You know, you advised us to sort of print out some comparables. And we did that. And when he came along, he was just really
that's amazing.
And,
so on to the next one. Or you've got to find another property first.
I've got to find another one. Ideally, I'd like to do like a commercial to resi conversion or even a ground up build. I'd love to do something like that. But HMOs, I know it was a long process, but you know, I won't rule it out. I'll definitely do it again. I'd consider doing it again for sure.
What was the reason to do a HMO?
So we just...
I know the architect said this is a good thing, but in your mind, like why? I know you came along to a seminar. You've obviously known about HMOs a little bit, but what's the attraction for this?
I think it was just making the most of the asset, really. So we had options. We could have just rented it out as a house, and that might have achieved maybe $2.5 grand a month rent. But as a HMO, obviously it takes a bit of investment in terms of the work and time. But yeah, we're listing the rooms for between 1,100 to 1,250 a room.
Yeah,
So
wow.
yeah, the rental income compared to just a house on its own is completely different.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
yeah.
So huge amount of investment going in, but the investment that's gone in, you've uplifted the value of the property hugely by doing that, haven't you? So the plan to refinance, pull money back out, and then hold this really high yielding asset for a long time?
For generations to come,
Yeah, you want to keep it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like buy-to-let on steroids almost, isn't it?
Basically, yeah. Because like I said, we've done a few buy-to-lets, which is great. And, you know, we've done the whole BRR strategy, pulled money out and whatever. But this, obviously, the rental income is a lot more. And on this occasion, we've managed to pull out our money as well. So
yeah, really good. Amazing. Right, let's go upstairs then and have a look at some of the other rooms, if that's okay.
Yep.
Ooh.
That's all right, leave them on, mate. I'll turn them all off later.
So Ryan, when he does his videoing, he normally does like 7 or 8 takes.
Oh my God, yeah.
I've said to him, we're going to do this YouTube in 1 take. And just continue videoing and it'll be done. Excellent. So, sorry, just to get my bearings, there's 3 bedrooms downstairs and four upstairs.
Yeah.
Because
so originally there was 4 bedrooms upstairs. It had a bathroom.
Yeah.
And one of the rooms had an ensuite. But like I said earlier, we've basically knocked the whole old walls, all the old walls down and sort of built it up from scratch.
Amazing. Cool. So kept everything the same in terms of layout, furnishings, colours. It's really nice.
Try not to get this bit in the video because
we haven't finished that bit. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, let's go into one of those other rooms over there then. Which is the biggest room up here?
Probably this one.
Oh yeah, this is nice. I'll have this one. Yeah, really good. The architects that you used, did they do an internal layout design in terms of, like, did you have M&E drawings?
No, we didn't have M&E.
So did you just work that out with your electrician?
With my electrician and obviously with my plumbers and that, yeah.
So I think a couple of my first HMOs, I did that. I got an architect had really good drawings, and then I kind of knew, but it didn't give me a position of a bed and bedside table and where the plug socket should be and how to what. And then so when I sort of brought electricians in and plumbers and boiler engineers, they all kind of have their own concept of how that's going to be. And a lot of the time that wasn't efficient in terms of even just like a door swing, the way the door opened into the room or where a plug socket should be. So I now have started, and it's not really that expensive, but I've started to use an internal architect who actually shows me that's the bed, that's the bedside table, and I just internally draw things out first. Because then when I have a electrician come to site, I can say to him, this room's got 4 spots. It's got a double light switch there, double socket there. That one needs a USB point.
So you don't get the M&E drawing?
I don't pay for I don't pay for an M&E consultant because it's expensive. But the internal architect will hand draw all of that onto a set of plans. I can show you.
I mean, we had that with the architects. They did lay out sort of the bed and the desk, and obviously the kitchenette and stuff. So that obviously allowed us to say, okay, we're going to put the sort of light switch for the bed. We're going to put a charger point for their phones or whatever there.
But a lot of that came to you being on site a lot, making decisions constantly.
Yeah, well, I'm on site every day, so I'm actually a carpenter by trade.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
wow,
so
okay.
Not only,
and you didn't want to fit the doors yourself?
No, that's what I mean. I wanted it nice and easy. So I'm a carpenter, so not only am I the investor, I project manage the build. And I'm hands-on on site every day, so that kind of helps.
To be honest with you, anyone who's fitting them fire doors is back-breaking anyway, isn't it? Fitting them, and you've got to put the big hinges on and all that sort of stuff. So, right, a couple more questions for you then. I think you've answered this. I was going to ask you about whether you're full-time in property or whether you've got a business, but it sounds like you're a carpenter, so you do this for So do you do freelance carpentry work for other people?
No, I don't really do work for clients. It's basically on our own stuff.
On your own stuff, okay. So are your family in property as well then, or is it just you and your brother? Or?
Just me and my brother.
Okay, amazing. So what would you do differently? If you had to do this exact house again, what would you do differently?
I would definitely make sure that all the design work is in place before we even start. So, for example, the structural stuff, like for example, the SAP calculations and the noise. Just make sure everything's in place before we actually start, because then we know exactly what we're doing, what the budget's going to be, and all of that sort of stuff. I'd do that a little bit differently for sure.
So like all of the consultants, because every time you involve a consultant, it's like expensive, isn't it? It's like you need a SAP assessor, you need a sound engineer to tell you the makeup of the walls.
Exactly.
And then your structural engineer to give you foundations and steel calculations, all these things. And a lot of people, whenever there's money going out to these things, you kind of not begrudge doing it because you have to spend it, but you kind of maybe delay it a little bit and get on with things. But the earlier you get that stuff, the easier it all becomes.
And to be honest with you, it was more, we didn't know it needed to be done, like the sound stuff. We actually didn't really know. Whereas, again, if we did a HMO again, we'd just sort of make sure all of our pieces are in place before we actually start.
Yeah. And so do you have plans to grow up? Now that you've done your first one, you can see, I mean, touch wood, it's not rented yet, but looking at this and looking at the location in North London, we're achieving £1,100 rents in Dartford in Kent. So given that this is a much better area than that, I can see you easily achieving that on the rooms.
We've got quite a few inquiries already,
So now that you've got to that stage where you can see how high yielding this property would be, would you continue and build a HMO portfolio? Is that something that you'd look to do? I know you said commercial to resi, but that comes with its whole other learning curve, doesn't it?
Definitely. We would grow the HMO portfolio, especially going with your advice, find the non-Article 4 area, go in for the 6-bed and then secondary application. That's a great strategy.
I mean, even if you, because there are some HMO developers that they just stick to C4 6-bed HMOs, right? Because the 7th bedroom, this is an Article 4 area, so it's different. But if this was a non-Article 4 area and you take a standard house, terraced or semi-detached house, and you turn it into a 6-bed all-ensuite HMO, there's no soundproofing, number one. You need a HMO licence, as you do on all these properties. So there are things you have to comply with, like overhead door closers and fire
alarms and stuff.
So I mean, the thing on that, so you can get away with a grade D interlinked smoke detector system with no panel. The problem that I see with people doing that is if they don't put a grade A fire alarm panel in and legislation changes, they're going to have to do it anyway. So you may as well just put the grade A fire alarm panel in, because it just prevents you from legislation changing around fire rigs. And you want your tenants to be safe, right? So you want to check that the fire alarm is working, smoke detectors work. And that, it just takes one tenant to do something silly, and then you're.
I mean, accidents happen, don't they?
Exactly. So maybe if you, I think actually for someone like yourself that's tackled this as their first HMO, like hats off to you.
Yeah, thanks.
If you did a 6-bed now and it was non-Article 4 and there was no soundproofing, you would blitz it. Yeah. You really would.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I didn't know you didn't need the soundproofing and all of that. Yeah.
You might even want to hang the fire doors in that one yourself.
I might have to.
Excellent. Are we all right to just have a look in the garden at the back of the property and just see what sort of garden space you've got? Yeah, excellent. Let's pop down there. I think obviously if you're just doing one, it's easy to sort of manage things around your daily life and all that sort of stuff. But if you scale a HMO portfolio and you've got lots of rooms, it's systems and controls that will make you more efficient.
I'm all about systems.
So that it's easier, right? So when a property's like this and it's finished, you take the opportunity to do everything that you're not going to get with the property in this condition ever again. So you have professional photos, you get a Matterport walkthrough video where someone can go and have a look around and they feel like they're here. You advertise on one of the platforms, Open Rent, Spare Room, and then you start to get inquiries. Now, you want to make sure the people that are coming in are of the calibre that you want to let to, number one. You can't discriminate, of course, but you can get rid of some of the people that are going to just waste time and not actually be interested. So what I would typically do is engage with them on Spare Room. Some people would go straight onto a platform like WhatsApp and they'd start engaging on WhatsApp. But they would send them, if you're going to do it on Spare Room, you'd say, please see attached floor plan of the property and please see attached a walkthrough video. Look at the floor plan, look at the photos, walk through the property and have a look at it. And once you've done all of that, if you're then up for a viewing, get back in touch and we'll arrange a viewing. So because if people go through and they're like, yeah, it's amazing, or actually it's not for me, I don't like where it is, I've looked on the street view, and then you've not wasted your time doing the viewings. So you can kind of filter people before they come. And also you want to know, are they going to pass referencing? Do they have the ability to rent? Do they have problems and things in the background? So I think do that, and that will just cut out some of the time wasters out.
Yeah, for sure. Wicked.
Yeah,
perfect.
Wicked. So should we have a little look out the back then? So what is that? Just a storage unit?
Yeah, that's storage.
Yeah. Where's your cylinder?
I'll show you actually. It's just outside. Yeah.
Oh, it's external, is it?
Where the bike shed is.
So you've got a system boiler and a couple of
tanks.
that do all the showers.
Yeah.
wicked.
Yeah.
Low maintenance patio.
Yeah, just kept
Perfect.
it simple, yeah.
Really nice. Bit of new fencing.
Yeah.
And then that's the single story rear extension that you've put on, isn't it? Have you tallied up how much you've spent?
Yeah.
Rough idea?
Yeah, we've spent around 300.
300.
Yeah.
So that's the single story extension, gutting it out completely.
Gutting it out completely, and obviously
new roof?
all the internal works. No,
it's not a new roof, is it?
But we've rendered all the outside just to make it look a bit tidier.
All new windows?
Yeah, no, the windows are existing.
They look new.
Yeah, they're all existing.
You've just given them a good clean.
Yeah, obviously these are new windows, where it's on the extension. We've put all new soffits and gutter in.
Yeah.
So yeah.
7 beds.
Again, long term.
Is that including all the furnishings and everything like that?
Yeah.
So you're all in for 300.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very nice.
Yeah, it actually amazes me how people up north, when they're posting, I've bought this house for this much and I've spent 25 grand on a refurb. I'm like, how on earth?
Yeah. I don't think it's possible, really.
No.
I mean, I don't know how they're doing that.
I'd love to see it for myself.
Yeah.
Just see what,
You've got good side access there as well, still, for bins to go. Oh, yeah, so where are the bins? Have you got bins?
The bins will be out the front.
You're going to put them out the front? In a store or just open?
No, just out the front, yeah.
That's one of the... out of all of the kind of like, to get this buy-to-let on steroids and have all this income, that it comes with a few hassle factors, I would say. Because HMO, so many people in property are like, oh, I want passive income and I want to sit at home doing nothing and just going to collect the rent, And for a lot of time, it's just not true.
It's never the way.
But with HMO, it's obviously not true because you've got tenants coming in, going, cleaning, inventories, tenancies, problems, maintenance. There's because it's essentially 7 people in a house.
Yeah.
So those things happen. But one of the things I found when I first started doing it, with bins were always the issue.
Right.
Because you have 7 people living that are all busy, that go off to work or work from home or do all the different things. And I mean, it's quite simple for someone like me and you who live at home.
Yeah.
And we know every Wednesday we need to put the bins out.
The bins are getting collected.
And they're going to get collected on a Thursday morning, and you put your cardboard and you do it all properly. But some people are incapable of sticking to a rota.
Sure.
And when a bin collection doesn't get taken and it's overflowing already, and then you're in the summer, and then you get maggots everywhere, all over, and then you've got a whole week, it becomes your problem.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So
I think something like that, I'd incorporate the cleaner to sort of
put them out when they go.
Yeah, put them out.
That's one solution. So if they clean weekly, you could ask them to clean the day before the bins get collected and put the bins out for you. So you could do that. Or there are other solutions. You could make a rota in the property and you could remind people in a group WhatsApp, make sure you put the bins out and give them... on some of mine, I've actually done Biffa. I don't know if you've seen Biffa. It's a private bin collection. We just put the Biffa out, just pay the 130 quid a month and it's done.
Okay.
Because I was finding some of my tenants just weren't taking them out, and I was having to send one of my staff members there with a tipper to collect all the bins, take it to the dump, paying money to get rid of it. And if I did that once every 6 weeks, I may as well just pay for the Biffa bin collection.
And so is the Biffa, do you get like a larger bin?
Yeah, they give you a commercial bin, everyone chucks the stuff in there and then you get rid of it that way. I mean, that's kind of like, if it's not working, then you can go for that route. Yeah. But if you can get it working in another way, just be conscious of that.
Again, another good tip, thank you.
It can give you a bit annoying if you're having to keep putting their bins out for them constantly. So, what's your internet like here? Have you managed to
We've managed to get the Virgin high-speed internet. I think it's like a terabyte or whatever.
Really?
And I've tested it, I think what we need to do is put another Wi-Fi access point towards the back of the house.
Okay.
But what we've done is we've got a Cat6 cable going to every room.
Yeah, lovely.
So yeah, it's not a problem.
That's good. And then where's the router?
It's at the front.
At the front. Is it accessible to the tenants?
It is, yeah.
I've had some tenants who think they're IT. I've given you all the problems with HMOs now, like the real life problems. I get tenants who'll go, the routers, this has gone wrong with the router, so I've reconfigured it and I've gone in and changed this setting and that. I'm thinking, what? Why have you done that? So I've locked all my routers, so people can't touch them now, and I just reset them myself.
Just like a little network cabinet. Or something
exactly. But maybe just give some strict rules on. Sometimes things go wrong. They do just need rebooting. The internet starts working again.
But good old turn it off and on again.
You're quite local to here anyway.
Yeah. I'm only sort of 15 minutes up the road.
You can always come if there's a problem, then can't you? Yeah. Excellent. Look, it's been amazing. I'm so glad for you to show us round. I really do think hats off to you to pull this off for your first project.
Thank you.
Well,
Thanks.
not your first project,
No,
but your first HMO.
yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
And looking forward to seeing what you do next.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And
thank you again. Thank you to you and Louis for sorting out the finance on it. Really appreciate it.
So guys, if you enjoyed this video, I'll put a link to Ryan in the description below. Sorry, there's a dog barking there. And you'll get all of that in the description below, so you can follow him on Instagram. I don't think you've got a YouTube, have you? Or
no,
not a YouTube.
No.
But you can follow him there, ask him any questions. If you liked today's video, just hit the like button. That really helps the channel and the algorithm and all that sort of stuff. Comment below any questions that you've got. I can ask Ryan, he can help and we can respond back in the comment section. And we'll see you at the next video. We couldn't come all the way to North London without getting a decent kebab. I mean, come on.